Hey guys, stay tuned. I have got the Walker family matriarch in the house, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Well, hello everybody. Sorry, I'm retweeting the tweet that AfterBuzz just sent out so that everybody has our link so they can watch us live. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV Spotlight On, and I am so thrilled to be sitting here one-on-one with the beautiful Valerie Wildman. Valerie, welcome.
Thank you, Mark.
Or do you prefer Val?
Either one.
Either
is
one.
Fine.
Okay,
I
noticed.
love the applause. Thank you.
I make them do that.
I like that sound effect.
That's more for me to feel good about.
Yes, there's millions of people here with us. Matriarch. Ooh, she sounds so
you like
evil.
that?
Yeah, I like that. Anyway, hi everybody. It's such a pleasure.
Well, I wanted to start off by telling everybody, because our fans, I think sometimes they think that we aren't really trying to get you guys to come in and talk to us. And you're now the second living proof that I don't obey the rules at work. And I accost people that come into my I accost people that come into my theater to come and do our show. I have to recap what happened because it was so hysterical. I was just telling her I get so busy at work because we have 3 99-seat theaters. So if we have 3 shows, I'm really busy passing out tickets. So sometimes I don't pay much attention to the names on them. And you walked and I looked at you.
I walked up to the box
office
to get
yes.
will call tickets.
Yes.
Right.
And she said, and she smiled and said her name, and I was like, okay. And in my head, right away, I'm like, she looks familiar. And then as I grabbed your ticket and actually looked at it, because I'm always tweeting you and annoying you, I was like, oh. And then I think I even was like, oh, I know you.
You said, you looked around and you went, I know who you are. And I was like, you do? I wasn't quite sure what that meant. And then, can I tell him what you said?
Please.
You said, I'm Lorraine Love. And I went, what? And you said, I've been tweeting you about being on the show after Buzz TV. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I said, well, of course I'll be on. I have not been on Twitter or anything for a long time. So I felt so like, yes, whatever that is and whoever you are. Yes.
Yes, Lorraine. Yeah. What's going on? So Mark is our engineer today. So I told her if it gets confusing, she can call him Mark and me Lorraine. That way we know who she's we know who she's talking about. I'm squared today. So since we were talking about the Odyssey Theater, I found I'm assuming it was probably a much older resume on your actual Valerie Wildman website. Okay. And you did a show at the Odyssey.
Yes. Well, that's right. See, you remind me that
I was like, oh my God, she did a show there. Because usually somebody there, when I mentioned that I'm doing the interview, will say, oh, they did a show here.
Oh, that's
so I was surprised
funny.
that they didn't say anything to me. It was Animus?
Wow. I'm amazed.
Yeah.
You really do your research. I'm totally blown away by him. I had no idea. You were such a pro. Back to that was actually, I think it was Michael Arabian who did that. And Michael Arabian, by the way, is a wonderful director, and I'm not
wonderful man too.
Wonderful human being.
Yes.
And he is directing this wonderful play at the Odyssey right now.
They just closed.
Oh, they
Kingdom
closed.
of Earth. Yes.
Kingdom of Earth.
Of Tennessee Williams. Yeah.
Play,
which I heard is amazing, and I didn't get to see, but
amazing. And Michael is an amazing director. Anyway, I way back when at CBS Radford, we did a show that was Helen of Troy, a Trojan Women, and I was Helen, kind of a slash between Marilyn Monroe and Madonna.
Yes.
That's Michael's idea. And we went through Gilligan's Island Pond in Humvees, and there were fireworks. He made it, modern day, like a golf course.
So the play was actually outdoors,
outdoors.
Oh, that's amazing.
And Michael was the director, and Helen's entrance, my entrance, was actually over a water wheel that was part of Gilligan's Island in a body bag, carried across the water. They unzip the body bag, and this Marilyn Monroe type person, which of course I don't really look like.
I would know, I disagree 100%, because as soon as I read that, I was like, duh. Of course she was Marilyn Monroe. I totally
when people
did.
think of Faye, they don't
No,
think of
oh
it,
my
but I
God,
said-
not
but
at
so-
all. I
so,
completely
anyway.
disagree with that.
So Michael is not only a kind person, but a genius. So I came to see it at the Odyssey. And then later we did this Animus, which is more of a kind of a stage reading
okay.
as well, too. But
Okay, and that was with
that
was with Michael also.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
and she's leaving out a little fact about Trojan women because somebody got a Dramalog Award
Yes. Oh
for
my
Best
God.
Actress as
You must
well.
have been up all night. You know more about me than I do.
I actually was up all night. I couldn't sleep last night. My husband's like, "Are you nervous?" I'm like, "No, I just can't sleep." But I wasn't up doing that. I was
Should
just.
we tell them why? Who we thought might be a surprise guest?
We did, yes, please, yes. It was very sweet because when I asked you, you were like, "Oh, I'll see if I can get Matt and James and Ari together, and we could do." And I was like, "Oh my God, that would be amazing.
I
The
know.
fans would love
Unlikely,
it."
but amazing.
But you never know.
Yeah, exactly.
Stranger things have happened, and then we thought until minutes ago.
Well, Jim couldn't make it. He had a conflict, and so did Matt. And we're talking about Abe and Brandon for
Yes.
you Days fans. And Ari and I are in touch a lot by text and everything. And so she says, "I'm gonna try. I don't know if I can make it." He says, "But I might make a surprise appearance." And she said that her little daughter Izzy, who I guess would, in a way, be my granddaughter.
Yes, she would be. She would be.
Anyway, has an audition today. So
Good
I
for
won't say
her.
for what, but go Izzy.
I'll
Izzy,
I'll
yes,
try and
her
get
little daughter.
feedback
That's
from her if she
yes,
finds out about it, and we'll put it in
exactly.
news and gossip
Yes,
next week
no.
in Dishin Days.
But you know
if
what?
she books
It sounds strange, but Ari and I really do love each other, and
Mm-hmm.
so when you do play family for a long time, you do end up usually loving each other. And Ari is very funny, and I know that it doesn't seem like it, but I love sense of humor. I don't want to
Yeah.
say I'm funny because it sounds like I'm supposed to, but we would banter
Yeah.
and play around so much. And after all of those heavy duty scenes, where she'd always say, I'm sorry," and then we would joke around and kid around. So
Well-
we have come to love each other dearly.
I will say this: I do believe you might be one of the most loved that has been on Days, because I will honestly, and I honestly can say, I don't think this has ever happened when I've posted about somebody being on our show, but James Reynolds and his wife, as soon as I put it on Instagram, got a message from them saying, "We love her. Please send her our love." And I was like, "Oh my God, I love that they're having a moment on my Instagram."
And I need to do
So
Instagram.
I
too,
thought
so-
that was so touching that they,
Aw.
took made a point to say
Say that,
something about
say
you.
that.
So I
Yes,
think that
love
goes
them
a lot to
both
say
dearly.
about you as well, young
Aw,
lady. So
thank you.
let's not
We
give
love each other
everybody else
dearly,
the
too.
credit.
Yes,
'cause-
and Matt and I talk to and love him dearly, and
Yeah.
not to mention that he's also one of the most handsome, wonderful people on the planet.
And we are, just for those of you that are watching, we're still talking to James. We have been trying to get him to come in. I know he did do one interview with
someone-
James Lott Jr.,
Yes,
who used to
yes,
host with us.
yes.
He did an interview with him for Black Hollywood Live, our other network.
He mentioned that.
And so we're still trying to get him to come in for our show. And then Matt too. I know we've been talking to people that know Matt and trying to get him as well, and Ari as well.
I sound
So-
like I'm doing a commercial for everybody now. I've just pitched Izzy, and but Ari's right. But Matt has been on the show Power.
Yes.
And so I think he's going to be more on a regular basis. I hope it's okay that I said that. So keep your eye out on
Yay.
Stars. Okay.
I just want to tell there's somebody that is watching, I do believe live, that usually sits at this table with me, and he was going to call in. So I just want to give him the heads up.
Okay.
If he's ready to call in, we're ready for you. I gave him that number, but I also wanted to talk about some of the stuff you did before Days. It always blows my mind too when I look at people's IMDb, that things like I love to see like the shows that I used to watch growing up and stuff like that, and just to see. And there were so many shows that I was like, oh my gosh, really?
Oh my God, she's a dinosaur.
No, I mean it really is. And well, Castaway.
That was my humor.
Castaway, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Nip Tuck, Cold Case, CSI, Chicago Hope, Tracy Takes On, which made me giggle. I loved that. Then this is more me. Silk Stockings, Murder, She Wrote, A-Team.
Oh my God.
And now, is it just that it was the first one listed, or was it your first gig, Saint Elsewhere?
That was my first gig.
In
That was my
1983.
First, well, no, actually, you will laugh. My first gig, I think, was on General Hospital. I was an under 5. I just come out to LA, and I had to wheel in someone
Okay.
and say 5 lines and get off stage, and it was the most terrifying day of my life because I had to learn how to do a wheelchair and hit the marks. And if you ask me which show it was, I think it was General Hospital. And I don't remember who I was wheeling on. Even it was just like I was terrified. I remember my father took pictures of the television or something. But then St.
But you also did later do General Hospital.
Yes.
Deidre Evans.
Yes.
Which I did watch a couple clips, because I'm not a General Hospital person, because I was a big Santa Barbara person, so we were very anti-General Hospital.
Got it. It was because it was on at the same time?
Yes,
exactly.
Okay. So everybody I went to school with, it was like either they were Santa Barbara or they were General Hospital. And I
Take
was
your
Team
side.
Santa Barbara.
Pick your side.
So I did watch some clips of you. Deidre Evans was your character, and very different from Faye.
Yes, very.
I just remember lingerie, a hotel room, hotel keys.
Sexy, rich, a little bit bitchy. She's like the opposite of Faye in a lot of ways. And I know some of the fans are going, Faye needs a sister. Why can't she be like Deidre Evans on General Hospital and have her come in? So I think that's kind of what got it rolling. So Tony Sikora, you probably know him. He's on Twitter. Yeah, Two Scoops. He keeps saying, she needs a sister. We need a sister. So I know.
I love it. And then working with you did, which this is probably the one thing that I got more things about when I mentioned you being here, was 90210.
Yeah, the original.
With Josh Taylor.
Yes, which is a very amazing story, actually. Yeah. So I played a character named Christine Pettit, and she was the girlfriend of Dylan's dad, who was played by Josh Taylor. And so we came to know each other really well. And I have a little quick side story about that. During the break, we were filming our scenes actually at a hotel in Beverly Hills. And so during the break, there was an extra room where the cast could go in. And everybody would kind of sit around or lay on the bed and look at the TV. And Days of Our Lives was on. It was the favorite show of most of the 90210 cast.
That's
so I thought
funny.
Wasn't that strange? I was just flashing back on that.
That's a nice little fun fact.
And that's where I met Lauren's husband, Nick, because he was doing makeup for
Nick,
90210.
yes.
Yeah, so,
yes,
anyway,
who I actually got to meet Nick at Day of Days. He was very sweet.
Exactly.
Very, very sweet.
So if you guys are watching, hi. Lauren.
We hope.
I watched Lauren's show. And anyway, so we came to know each other. So then all these years later, after his character supposedly blew up in a car crash, and my character turns out was an FBI spy. Go figure.
Of course, of course. I was going to say it's daytime, but it was primetime. But
so there we are in Days of Our Lives, and I am actually having scenes with Roman, Josh.
Yeah.
And so we're kidding around and talking about stalking each other. And he says, "Are you following me?" And he goes, "By the way, I just got a call from 90210. They want me to come back next week." And I went, "You're not dead?" And he said, "No, the character's not dead." And I went, "Oh my God. Well, hey, I'm jealous. How come they haven't called me back?" I go to my dressing room, and sure enough, I get a call from my manager. They want me back on 90210. So anyway, so then I was back, he was back, and then we were back on Days. And so it was kind of funny. And then in the beginning, when Faye was new to Days of Our Lives, Roman and Faye had a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if there was going to be some sort of triangle between Abe and Roman and Faye, but I wasn't sure whether anybody really realized that we had been a couple on 90210.
I'm sure there were people out there that were very aware of that and probably waiting for it to happen.
Maybe.
So
I don't know.
I have no doubt about that. So did you know, you obviously knew then that Josh was there when you got the part on Days. You already knew that he was there.
I was already, because
it wasn't a shock when you got there.
We talked about it when we were doing 90210.
Oh, okay,
but
got it.
I didn't know whether he was still going to be on it, whether I was going to see him, or whether we were going to have scenes together till I got the script. So it was all very exciting.
That's so cool.
It made me feel secure too, because I knew him. So it was like, oh, good, somebody I know. When you're the new kid on the block on the first time on a show, even when you guest star, there is that little bit. I don't care how much of a pro you are, you still get those jitters.
Nerves, I was going to say, it's one thing too, I've noticed myself when I'm researching and looking at people's IMDb's and stuff, and I try to click on as many of the movies and shows that they do just to see who they worked with, because there's so many times I'm like, Shut up. What a coincidence. You know, it is such a small little community and world that you're just like, oh, wow, they've really worked together a lot. And even now, because I'm a big Law and Order SVU junkie, and I will watch and rewatch the same episodes over and over and over again.
That's why you
My
don't
husband
sleep.
wants to shoot me. Right, exactly. Actually, that's what I was watching at 5 in the morning.
See, I knew that.
But it's funny because I see people on the shows now that know from now that are
Right.
big now that weren't big then, and it just
They had this
you
one
just-
little scene.
we always
right,
just assume people just kind of came out of nowhere, and just because we just didn't know who they were.
Right,
And it's
that's
just
true.
like looking at your long list of stuff too. You're just like, wow, she really put in her time. She earned it.
It's like she didn't just appear.
Right,
overnight.
exactly.
you
Like
know, part
most
of it,
people
yeah.
think that. I think that's what people think though. Hollywood, they
yes.
just kind of, it does happen that one lucky person who's jogging and they're like, he's just what I'm looking for. I guess I should start jogging. is
Right.
what I-
Exactly. But the other thing that I was surprised at, I'm trying to remember, there's been, different producers at Days, but one of them, maybe when Faye just came on, he was a big fan of the show that some people knew of called Dangerous Women.
Oh, okay.
And I played a double character in that. She was in disguise. And so when he found out, wait a minute, that was you? Because these characters are all very different. So
Yeah.
I think that over the years, what I've really been is a character actor. I
Yeah.
don't really look like a character actor in person, but I morph.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, wait, that was you and that was you. And
It does.
that's-
It does
yeah.
take a minute, especially even like your General Hospital, just between Faye and Deidre. Like, I mean, complete night and day.
Exactly,
Complete night. I mean,
exactly.
maybe Faye in her younger years, but
Maybe something like
when
that.
her and Paul got going. Speaking of
could be.
Paul,
Oh.
Mr. Mendez, that evil, horrible man that you
where
were
is
just in
that
love
guy?
with.
Yeah.
So you started in 1999 on Days, according to
That made
IMDb.
my heart just leap. That seems impossible. Some people call me Cleopatra, Queen of Denial, because I don't do years. But I seriously don't do years. Not on purpose. It's like, I don't know what year, so you're educating me.
Yeah, no, I have to
I
look
saw-
too because I remember
Yeah.
I'm James Lott Jr., who I mentioned earlier. He's such like I'll just message him and be like, I actually messaged him. I'm not gonna even lie. I messaged him and was like, didn't Faye die falling down the steps? And she's like, no, girl. She fell down the steps, going to the hospital, and then they smothered her with a pillow. And I was like, oh, okay.
I know. They
and
had
I
to
was
be
like,
violent twice.
yeah,
right?
exactly. And I was like, I don't remember what happened on Days last week. I don't know how he just retains all this stuff. So it kind of blows my mind. And that's why I do love the fans and love that they watch our show and chime in because they do help us because there's
Yes.
so much to know and to remember.
It's true. Running into them, I learned so much stuff. I learned stuff.
They
on
do.
you,
They
too.
remember everything. Sometimes the bad stuff.
I went into your train of thought. I tend to chatter. So
No,
you're
no,
gonna
no.
say
You're
something
fine.
about Paul.
No,
What
no.
is that?
You're,
Okay.
I was going to say, I will say this about, because I'm, if you watch Dishin Days, you'll realize that I'm what you might call opinionated.
Okay. I can't wait to
And
watch
I
now,
don't really
too.
hide my feelings
Sundays, I love
about
that.
characters that I don't like. Now, and I specifically use the word characters, people, because I know you all think that I hate all these actors that are out there.
He doesn't.
I
He's
don't
very
hate them,
loving.
and I just I have issues, But I will definitely say this, and they will tell you I won't say stuff that I don't mean. Faye was one character that from the beginning, I was like, I like her. I like she. There was just something about Faye, and just her her endearingness or whatever it was that I just really clung to, and I remember for a long, long time being so upset that they didn't pair up you and Abe. I just remember being like, why are you not doing this?
You
This
mean
is...
that we didn't end up together?
Yeah, like that they
Right?
didn't.
Or when I came back,
Yeah.
why didn't I know?
Yeah,
That
I
was
just thought it was
confusing.
such a great missed opportunity that you guys, I don't know, and I think it was because it was Abe and Lexi, and I feel like Days really doesn't like to meddle with the super couples.
Yes.
But it's like, but when
would.
there's something that I felt like you guys genuinely had,
Yes.
why not use that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Isn't
Yeah.
that going to be worth it to you in the long? I don't know.
Yeah.
Clearly, I told you, I've got an opinion.
Yes, I think I had a lot of fans come up to me and ask that same question, and I know that at times where Jim and I thought that it was going to go for a while and go
Yeah.
deeper too. I don't know. Obviously there was a reason or a plan,
Mm-hmm.
and just to kind of keep it all separate, because maybe it just would get too convoluted if Abe got involved in Faye's situation when she came back.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it did cross our minds like, wow, there's no scene before Faye even dies.
Yeah.
I was glad to see that he did have a scene with Nicole, and they acknowledged that there
Yeah.
was a deep relationship there too, and that he was kind of like a father figure to her.
Mm-hmm.
But that's still something that can still be explored with them.
Oh,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And like we said, in daytime, anything's possible. And actually, this is a perfect time because I have a fan question
Okay.
that in regards to this. Kristen Bullen, who is a fan of our show, she tweeted me earlier, and I wanted to know if you were to ever come back, because that's always possible in daytime. What would you like your comeback story to be? Like, because her examples were like, you want to be cloned, brain transplant, something like that. Is there a dream? I want to come back like this. Like if they came to you and said, we want to bring you back, your choice. How do you want to be brought back?
Wow. And what were her other examples? I like.
She just said the two,
Okay.
clone and brain transplant. But just anything that you science
Let's
experiment. I
see.
mean, anything's possible.
Wow. Well, I don't know. I
I'm
haven't.
putting you on the spot.
No, it's good creative thinking. I'd like to hear your input too, or anybody else if you've got ideas. Well, a couple things. First, let me just say that I loved being a ghost.
Yeah.
I mean, even if Faye never came back alive, I loved being a ghost. I loved coming in to support Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
I love being a character that kind of was uplifting.
Yeah.
And it just felt very, very special to be kind of a ray of light,
Mm-hmm.
And so that was lovely. If Faye came back alive, let's see, Jim Reynolds was telling me some ideas he had. I was like, wow, you've been thinking about this. Faye was really, I'm trying to remember what he thought. This is not my idea. I think Jim Reynolds said, you don't understand. Faye is still alive under Stefano's house.
Yeah.
She's been a prisoner there. And
Anything's possible.
it was she didn't really die, but
Yeah.
they kept her there, and Abe has to come in and rescue her, and some of them, and she's there, and she's been kept alive and delirious, something like that. That was
Okay.
one of his too. And then some fans said, what about a twin sister? Kind of like the Deidre Evans, where she's more
Yeah.
kind of saucy. Maybe she's even evil. I don't know, but she has an edge, and that that arouses all sorts of memories in Abe, and I don't know. That was something that was fun too. It would be nice if she was still alive. That would
Yeah.
be lovely.
Well,
I don't know, but
and-
I don't know whether that's something that is even. Well, although
You never know.
You never know. I know.
Especially with Days. I mean,
know.
we'll get a soap opera digest, and Ken Corday's telling all of us as fans, anybody who dies after this day, they're never coming back. 2 of them are back already. So it's like
Who were the
we
two?
just don't believe it already.
Say Andre, right?
Andre
Right.
and
I'd love to, okay.
Daniel Cosgrove, who I don't think was on the show but he was on 90210.
Oh, right. Wow. Yeah.
He's Aiden Jennings
Oh,
now.
Aiden, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he just came
yeah.
back from the dead. Yeah. Whatever.
That's the old
So that's why
never
we don't-
say never.
that's why we don't get
right.
all- I'm just like,
Oh,
I'll believe it
know,
when I see it.
I know. When I saw Ari and Jim at the 50th birthday, the 50th anniversary for Days, they were like, no, you're coming back. We've decided. And I was like, I don't think you get to decide, you
Yeah.
guys. That was very, very sweet.
We do here at Dishin Days wish that we had a say in a lot of what goes on at Days of Our Lives. I started doing a thing at home of my dream cast of people that I want on. Like if I could bring
Wow.
people back and just do it the way that and I'm just gonna go on my little tangent here
Yeah,
for a moment
go.
because that's what I
Tangent
do.
away. I like that.
But I just have this strong feeling that and I feel like this is sometimes a lot of Hollywood in general, is that we're getting away from the story and the passion for that show, that it becomes about money. And we've figured out that they get a bump in pay if this character does well and so we get the behind the scenes stuff. So it's just frustrating for us as fans when we see people that we genuinely love to see and they're just dismissed.
They're just dismissed,
And
so,
it's we just it does it, and I think that that's why the soap opera fans are the way they are too, because I think they've had the rug pulled out from under them so much that they just cling to those people and they hope that they're going to come back.
Well,
And
it sounds like you helped to give them a voice and to say their opinions.
we're
too.
trying to.
Yeah.
We're trying to.
Speaking of voice, thank you for saying what you said about Faye. One of the things I appreciate about Faye, a lot of people I know were angry. How could she not know that her daughter was being abused, or or how come she didn't stick up for her son? And I, ironically, as you know, I've it sounds strange, but I've lived a lot of different lives. You'll see what I mean in a minute, I hope. And one of them was working with a lot of families and children of homes with that had domestic violence. And so I also became a spokesperson for the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence and came to know a lot of women all over the country. And people would also write that, in a way, Faye was telling their story.
Yeah.
And also that when women who are in this situation actually make a move to leave, often it's incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
And more so than I think people realize. So in a way, I felt like Faye was a way to give a voice to so many women out there. You guys, it could be maybe even someone that you know in your family, a friend or you. Mm-hmm. She was that voice, and so many people do not know or are scared to say so for many reasons. And it does cross all economic levels. So in that sense, I mean, I was in love with Faye for many reasons, and that was a main one. And to try to understand, like, how could she stay in denial? How could she not know? How could she think the best of Paul? And then, but coming to understand, because I would facilitate lots of groups of women who are in similar situations and groups with their children. I'm getting off the subject of days.
No,
so
I was going to
sorry
say,
about
was that,
yeah.
were you doing those things at the same time? Or was the
It was weaving back and forth.
Okay.
So
you had been in that world and and heard those stories when you were taping all that.
Yes. I mean, I thought that it was an incredible synchronicity.
Yeah.
Sometimes those things happen. So just, it's strange. I know a lot of people have come from acting, and I studied acting and got lots of awards when I was younger at Northwestern University.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time,
I'm Ohio State. I'm Ohio State.
So you know,
we know the Big Ten.
I'm gonna interview
people.
you
We're
next.
good people.
I know. I had a wonderful father who passed away this year, and he gave me some very sage advice. He says, make sure that no matter what you do, you pursuing your dreams, that you also get a good education. Yeah. And he encouraged me to go to graduate school. So I ended up getting a master's in counseling, and have been forever pursuing a doctorate. If I want to work in TV and film, go back to graduate school. So that seems to be that. Or go out of the country with a one-way ticket.
Did my husband hear that? I have to go get my doctorate,
there
honey.
There you go. See? It'll work. Or go out of the country, but not intentionally, and with a non-refundable ticket.
Yes.
And so because of that, I had all these other experiences. So that it really did help to that role a lot, because I did have firsthand experience dealing with these issues, and that's how come I seem to know so much about it, and also deal with children's issues and the trauma. And so I had the opportunity to actually speak to people in Congress and the press and go to Washington. So Faye afforded a lot of meaningful things. And I, in my life, because of this background, as a Vista volunteer, a Peace Corps volunteer, I've always tried to
all
parlay.
my things away from me.
I'll shut up. I'm doing a monologue. I just like to parlay it all
I know what you're
into
saying.
the roles, because I think they can all work together.
Yeah.
If you can make a difference at the same time that you're performing, then for me, that's really meaningful. Just acting without that feels somewhat... I feel this hole in my soul. So
well, I'm going to say this too, because I think this is a perfect transition. As excited as I was to talk to you about Faye and everything, when I got your email with your links and I started really reading all the stuff that you've done and everything, I'm not even kidding. And I mean, I'll just say this to begin with. I'm a crier. But I
Aw,
got
me
very
too.
teary-eyed and very emotional
Aw.
reading about you and the things that you've done, just because it really touched a place for me where, I've always had this thing where if, I want to do something, I want to do what I want to do, but I want to do something not just to be famous or not just to be a host, but something that will help. And I think that's what I learned the most from researching you is all this amazing stuff. You have this amazing IMDb page, but I'm even more impressed with your Angels Among Us and all that kind of stuff and the things that you've taken to do. And you know what it actually reminded me of was, I don't know if you've seen in the news lately, the John Oliver. Are you familiar with John Oliver?
Yeah.
And I just read this thing. Hopefully I'm getting this right. I heard he purchased $15 million worth of medical debt for $60,000 of people that were in medical debt and then waived it for them. Like he just cleared 15 million. And I literally was thinking about
an
on the way.
angel among us.
Right? Exactly. I know. I was like, I got to tell her about this because I don't know if
my
she knows
God.
about it. And I was just like, wow. I was like, that's what I'm just reading about you and all this. And let's go through because I will, well, you know what I'm going to do too? I'll put up the phone. I'll give you guys the phone number too if you guys want to
Okay.
call in because I know there's a couple people that have questions.
Okay.
You can interrupt us if you want, but we're going to keep on this path because I think
Please
we're good.
call
The number is 424-256-1633. If you guys have a question and want to call in, I know I have been kind of ignoring the chat. Sorry, we're in a really good conversation here.
Aw,
But
I
if you
know
guys
that.
have questions, please call in. And Mark, just interrupt me if I'm on one of my tangents.
Line.
Oh, Matt is on the
Yeah,
line.
Matt's been on the line for quite some time.
Oh, I didn't. I was waiting for a note. Sorry, I'm so sorry. You could have just interrupted me.
My apologies.
Matt, I'm sorry.
Crying.
It's not. It's very.
Don't cry.
It's very unlike you, Matt, to keep your mouth shut. So I'm very surprised you sat there so quietly.
I was in my apartment and I'm messaging Mark. I'm here. Mark, I'm
Oh.
here.
Oh, I wasn't looking at my phone.
That's
because
because of me. I'm one of those guests that doesn't wait for the questions. I just chatter and chatter away. Hi, thank
Valerie.
you so much. Hi.
I'm so sorry I'm not there today.
You are. You're on the phone. That's
That's
fabulous.
right.
I know.
That's
When Mark
great.
started talking about 90210, I was dying. I was like, no, I'm here.
Oh, okay. That's why I was like, I guess I'm just gonna go into it because he didn't call. But sorry, that's my
You
fault.
both are
No, it's
good
okay.
ad-libbing. That's great. You were so
when Mark-
upset. Were you a 90210 fan?
Oh, just a little bit. Back in April, this past April, my brother got me all 10 seasons on DVD. So,
Oh, wow. That's
Yes,
amazing.
so-
Good. Now I don't have to buy them for you.
Wow.
so
that-
I just started season 4 again for the, 20th time. And so Mark said we have Valerie Wildman, and my first thought was, oh, Christine Pettit?
See, some people do.
Yeah.
They don't think of it as Faye, do
Yeah.
they? I know. It's interesting. I think also it's kind of a generational thing. If I go to the bank and the teller, is of a certain age, they go, 90210. Christine. As a group of people will go, Faye. It all depends. But so that is amazing that you knew the character's name. That blows me away.
I feel like your storyline really transitioned. That was the major storyline that kind of transitioned the entire series from being a different episode every week to a continuous storyline and a primetime soap opera.
Wow. That's pretty intense. I never thought of it that way. Did you realize when you watched Days that Roman and I
Yeah.
had been a couple? Oh, wow. That's amazing. I
Yeah.
always wondered who knows? Who
Yeah.
noticed?
See, I said. I'm sure there are people out there. Matt's one of
Wow.
them.
I actually pulled a photo I sent in of you and Josh Taylor.
Oh, you did? Okay. Oh, let's see if he
Wow.
puts it up here for us to see as well.
The other Mark? You
Yeah, the other
pulled a
Mark.
Photo?
I
You
think he's got
found
it in his
How
email.
did you find it? My God.
Oh, just a little. I'm a crazy 90210 fan. If we're being honest,
I love honest. That's amazing to me. Wow.
and that was from, I think that was your first scene on the show.
Where I came for Thanksgiving in a blue dress.
You came and you picked up food from the Peach Pit, which is when
I forgot about that.
And
Wow.
I have it. Are you seeing the photo?
No, I'm not seeing it.
Oh.
The folks at home are.
Oh, the folks at home are.
You guys
okay.
are seeing it? Oh my
I
God.
don't see
I
anything.
can't wait to take a look at. We can't see it in here, but that is amazing.
And the second photo I pulled is of your first scene with it's when you're introduced to the character Kelly Taylor, played by Jenny Garth. It's
Yes.
you, Josh Taylor, Luke Perry, and Jenny Garth.
Yes. Was that the one where I had a spoon balanced on my nose, or was that a different?
That was
scene?
when he proposed to you. I watched
wow,
that.
Wow, you guys
that,
really
that one
know.
I watched.
I'm
That
getting
one I watched.
chills.
I just watched it on YouTube because I didn't remember when he told me. I was like, I'll need to watch it because I half watched 90210. I wasn't as dedicated as obviously Matt was.
Yeah,
So I rewatched
I-
it.
word.
I'm starting to, or two things are going on. I'm starting to remember meeting Jenny Garth's character, and I was in a glittery dress, and it was a big party scene. I remember this too. Yes.
And you said a little something under your breath about Luke or Dylan said something about Jack's entourage not being so big anymore. And your line was about the fact that his the number of zeros at the end of his paycheck are fewer than they used to be.
Oh, he's showing me the picture.
We're
on the
delayed, so now I can show her the picture.
Wow. I look so mean. and
You do look
rich.
angry.
I don't look anything like Faye at all in there, do I? Wow, good memory. Wow. And that's before anybody knew she was an FBI agent.
And I'm just saying this now. You look like Marilyn Monroe. Just saying it.
Yeah,
Just saying
a
it.
few years later than her heyday.
I heard a little bit. I was in and out from trying to call in, so I know that Mark touched on some of the 90210 stuff. But when you came in, were you even aware that you were an FBI agent at that point, early on?
Very good question. You guys are. I noticed it when I was looking at some of your previous shows. You have great questions. To be honest, I did not. I had a whole other idea of what she did, which I won't say. It wasn't anything bad, but one day I was driving to the set, and it was the day that they were going to have the fire explosion, and Dylan's dad,
Yes.
Jack McKay, was going to quote unquote die in the explosion.
Right.
And I got a call from one of the producers and said, Valerie, this is so and so. And I was like, oh, hi. And I'm thinking, what did I do wrong? What did I do? And I was like, uh-oh. And I'm driving to the set, and he goes, I just want you to know that Jack is not really dead, and you are an FBI agent. That's how I found out.
Oh, wow.
I was on, and I was like, wow, so I thought that meant things were going to continue right away. It took years for it to continue, but it definitely, I went on for a few more episodes, I think, as the FBI agent, but it was really, that's how I found out. And I really appreciated, it was such a complex, interesting storyline then of who she was. But no, in that scene, I did not. I thought
And then you came back seasons later.
yes, as did Jack,
Josh.
as did Josh. Yeah.
Right.
So that was an amazing surprise too. It was interesting because when I got the role of Christine Pettit, I don't think I realized what a big deal it was. But my stepchildren suddenly started treating me like I was the Queen of England. So I knew that something big was going on. So
Like, can you take us to set?
they were very, very excited about it. So I went,
Seasons 2 and 3 exploded for Beverly Hills 90210. So you were there in some of the biggest, I don't know, maybe the biggest storyline of all time.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was what was going on at the moment. It's kind of like, well, have you guys ever been to like the Days set? You
Yeah,
have been there. So
I
you know,
have.
you
I don't know
have.
if
You
Matt
mentioned,
has.
yeah,
Yes, I
remember-
have too.
Okay, so I remember you guys were mentioning on one show that it's easy to walk in and
Yeah.
as opposed to GH with elevators. Well, when you go to a set, and it's for the audience that hasn't been there, and this is true of 90210, you just kind of go to your room. And, you get dressed, you learn your lines, and you go out there. And it's a very isolated thing. So you don't realize what an impact you're having or how the fans are going to be reacting. So it's not till after the fact that you find out. So
Yeah.
I really had no idea. And actually, the the studios and the dressing rooms for 90210 were very simple. So I thought, oh, this is a simple, nice show,
Yeah.
compared to some of the other, sets and all of that. So I truly had no idea. Everyone was incredibly kind and loving. Not only Josh, but Luke Perry is such a kind person and so sweet and kind that I felt totally at home. Had I known what a big deal it was, I probably would have been a lot more nervous. Though, so maybe it was a blessing. So it was. Now it's a great memory. I'm glad. Sometimes it's better not to know these things when you go in as an actor because you're much more relaxed. So.
The younger Matthew and me is dying right now.
Well, what did you think? Did you think she was kind or mean, or what did you think about Christine?
I
honestly?
didn't want to like her, but you could tell instantly that she loved Jack and that she loved Dylan because Jack loved Dylan.
Mm-hmm. I think that's true.
And I think that you could tell that. I think in your first moment you extended your hand to Dylan and you said pleasure to meet you, and it was charming and elegant, and there was nothing fake about it.
Wow, you
and
really
I
noticed
liked
those
her.
things.
And when it was revealed that she was an FBI agent, I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday. Maybe because I just watched 10 minutes ago, but I remember thinking, oh my God. They always used to, it was like, they've done it again.
They've tricked you.
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
They tricked you. They made you want to watch more.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, even as the character, I wanted to know more what was going to happen and what her story was and try to understand her position in all of this. And I think that she was really in pain that was her job and that she did really love him and want the best for Dylan as well. So, and it's interesting hearing you talk about it. Actually, I feel my heart welling up. I'm getting kind of chills. You're bringing me back in time, and I didn't realize that it was having that impact. So, thank you.
Because I think there were times when Dylan was questioning Christine's intentions for him and for Jack.
Yes.
But Christine always stood her ground and said, I care about him, I care about you, and I just so happen to be FBI.
Yes. That is exactly what happened, and I'm blown away that you know that. I'll have to send a link to this show to the producers. They will love that we're talking about this because I'm in touch with them on Facebook and stuff. So
I would love that. And
Okay.
I have one last question,
Okay.
and then I'll let Mark get back to it.
Okay.
Your skin is flawless, and it always has been.
Oh my
What
God.
do you use?
Well, I put hair over the crow's feet. I'm on camera.
I said everybody in the chat room is agreeing with me, by the way. They're like, totally
There's
Marilyn
people in the
Monroe.
chat
Marilyn,
room.
Marilyn.
Aw, that's
Yep.
so sweet.
Yes.
Aw. They're probably shocked that I smile and laugh a lot too. Laugh too much. What do I use? Well, you will laugh. I had a facial yesterday. I use, believe it or not, vitamin E oil at night. And I don't think I'm allowed to mention a product. Am I? Probably not.
I mean, I don't care.
Mark, get it from her and tell me.
Okay, we'll jot it down and get it for you.
Okay. All right. Okay. And I'm happy to answer on Twitter or anything else.
There
what
you
it is,
go.
too.
Okay.
But I
would
will.
love that.
I will.
It was a pleasure talking
Oh
to you.
my
I'm sorry I
God,
didn't
what a
get to meet
pleasure.
you, but
That's
you'll
all
have
right.
to come back again.
I would love it. We'll talk about other
Okay.
things. Okay.
right,
Thank
you
you
have
so
fun.
much. I hope you have fun today.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye, both of you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you all for whatever compliments
I
you
feel
said.
so bad that he was sitting there. I was like, why didn't he just chime in and say, shut up?
He probably was trying to
He
tell
does
the
it during
other
our regular
Mark.
show, so I don't
Thank
know
you,
why
Mark.
being on the phone made it any different. Before, Mark, are we okay on time?
Yeah, no.
You're right on time.
Okay,
Okay.
and because I have a couple more things that I definitely want to talk about before we're done.
Okay, I'll be quiet until you ask me a question.
So you basically mentioned I was literally like, it's probably the only note card that I flipped over and had to keep writing. I was writing down all the things besides acting that you've done that were just blowing my mind. The master's degree in counseling, working on a doctorate in clinical psychology, speaks Spanish fluently, Peace Corps volunteer, Operation USA relief worker, Op USA concert, which you helped put together, spokesman for, which you mentioned, spokesman for children's issues for the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, flip the card.
Wow.
Vista Volunteer for at-risk youth in San Antonio, Texas. And then I'm just going to mention a couple of the places she's been. Cartagena, Colombia, Sri Lanka, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Mexico, Russia, Philippines, just to name a few. All right, so...
Not as a tourist.
Not as a tourist, doing work and helping and just... Okay, so I think we need to talk about your passion project, Angels Among Us, which we've talked about a little bit. So let's get everybody on board to know what's going on. Which
you so
I'm,
much.
from reading your website, am told it is inspired by the quote, "We are each of us angels with one wing. We can only fly embracing each other."
Wow. I can tell
And
you're
I'm
getting
getting-
teary-eyed
yeah,
and I'm feeling
getting-
it and
I'm
you're getting
getting
me all emotional too.
It's
It's in
just-
the field here.
I have this. My personal thing is, I mean, I have this soft spot for people who aren't as blessed with love from family and friends that I was blessed with. Like these people that are young people that are coming out and transitioning and doing all this stuff, and they don't hear "I love you" and don't hear that it's okay, and it breaks my
saying
heart. So when I was reading this, I was just like, and I love the idea. So basically, the website, you post videos, poems, letters, whatever people want to
Art,
submit.
stories,
Their stories
dances,
about
children's
these angels
pictures,
that
or-
live among us. They do, and it's everything. There was a gentleman who was on the street playing a drum that you interviewed because of the song he was singing.
Yes,
There were people
guitar.
you interviewed on the beach that were picking up trash to clean the beach.
Wow, no wonder
I,
you're up
I
all
was
night
well. This
and
was
watching
early. This was
Mon-
before
oh
I
my
couldn't even
God,
sleep.
Really? Wow.
I think, and maybe that is what got my head going. Is I just was
wow.
thinking about what a great thing. And it's just such a. If you ever just want to put yourself in a good mood, go to angelsamongus.tv is the
Yes,
website,
Yes.
and just go through. It's just
Well, I also want to invite everybody to send in
Yeah.
anything. Don't wait till it's quote unquote good enough. You'll see on there that I am doing these homemade videos with my iPhone, and the turkey jerky and the sound's terrible. And I really, the way this came about, and I don't know how many minutes do we have left.
Are we
so
okay, Mark?
I would say 5 or so minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
The angelsamongus.tv is the website, first of all. Send in anything before I forget to angelsamongustv@gmail.com. Angelsamongustv@gmail.com. It could be anything. It could be a story, a dance, a drawing, a video, anything that's uplifting. And it can be a child's drawing, anything. And you can send it in anonymously. And as long as it's uplifting, we will post it. And the way this came about is I'll have another secret life that I was telling Mark about.
Her
Is that
hat life.
it's going to look cute on this with these headphones, with these earphones on. But I walk around usually with no makeup on, and my skin doesn't look as good. And I'm in blue jeans, and I actually spend most of my time in the inner city. I'm in South Central or South Los Angeles, it's called now, and East LA, and I'm sitting in what's called talking circles, and I'm facilitating them, and I'm listening to young people and people of all ages, but mainly young people, children, teenagers, adolescents, speak from the heart about things that they care about. And one of the things that's come up, especially when we can do it in an anonymous way, which I won't take time to explain, I've learned how much depression and hopelessness and grief and even suicidality that is out there, and that so many people, especially young people, are feeling that, feeling hopeless. And I also see that so many of us, especially young people, what they're looking at on their phones or in their computers or even our television shows. I'm in this industry, and I've participated in some of those dark, violent shows, and they're very popular shows. But I started thinking, oh my gosh, because when I go out into the world, everyday people like you or the person in the pizza store or the guy who's homeless playing the guitar on the street, or I run into kids from East LA, and they're people that are everyday people that are kind, and they're being kind moment to moment. They don't have to be a CNN hero. It's the moments that matter between people. That's how we change the world, in the moment. And so all of a sudden I thought, if only someone would do this. And why can't people run around with their phone and shine a light on the good things? And finally,
Instead
I
of
just
the
realized,
shootings, and I mean,
Yeah, and
not,
so
again, not saying that those
right.
aren't important things, but I
Yes.
agree 100,000%.
So finally, after years of this, I finally just went, okay, I guess this someone has to start with me.
Yeah.
And so no one really cares about a middle-aged woman running around telling everybody. So I also wanted to empower people like CNN has reporters to be what I call reporters, which can be an artist or a video or anything, and do the same thing and send things in. And so we can create this place where together we can remind each other of what's positive in the world and uplift each other, and don't feel embarrassed that it's not good enough. You'll see my stuff, you'll understand. And my hope is that it can even be developed into a television show.
Yeah.
And there's some people helping me with this, so
Oh,
I'm hoping that
great.
happens. And so if you rally in and want that to happen, we can make it happen. And I would love the hosts, it could maybe me included or not, but to be people of very diverse backgrounds and ages, and shining a light on all of this goodness, and people sending in things as well. So maybe it will change names. I want to also say that people started sending in stories about encounters with beings that they later wondered were non-human angels. And when I bring up the name, most people go, oh, I have to tell you something, but they don't want me to repeat it or say it. So I want to invite you to tell those stories too.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about it much myself in the beginning because I didn't want people to go, oh, the crazy angel lady. And I'm finding that it is more common than not. So I want to include those too. I'm getting very deeply moved. And the angels are probably saying, thank you. You finally got courage to say that. So if you see me running around the inner city with this angel feather, you see this hat, it's probably me. And
That's her.
go take a look at it. It's undevelopment. That you'll see there's code because we're developing it still and revamping it. And send in things, angelsAmongUsTV@gmail.com. Thank you for acknowledging
Oh no!
it.
There was no way I was not discussing it, because it really. And it's funny because I had thought of a long time ago. I was doing a hosting class. Hopefully it's paying off.
It is paying off. Isn't he awesome? Yay! We need that applause sound effect, Mark, in the booth.
He's like, it's Mark. It's Lorraine. We had to come up with a show to present to class, and my show idea was called The Good News.
Same thing.
And
See, people are getting this message all together.
Yeah,
yes,
I'm tired. It's not that I don't want to hear
chills.
about what's going on in the
Yes.
world. It's just sometimes I just want to go and hear good stuff.
Absolutely.
I just want to get some good, not the bad, not the negative, all that kind of stuff.
That's what you do
So
too.
you
with
guys,
your
and
comedy
these,
and your humor.
oh,
You
thank
do.
Thank you.
It's true. It's true.
Well, I know these guys that watch are very dedicated, so I guarantee you will get definite new stuff to post on your
Good,
website, because
good.
they do collages and poems and stuff
Awesome.
all the time.
Awesome.
So find that angel among you and do something in honor of them.
Right.
And-
AngelsAmongUs.tv.
Yeah,
Have a look.
absolutely.
Okay.
And then one other thing I want to talk about before we go, Mark, I hope it's okay, is your, and if it's not tough, I'm
I
doing
know,
it
I
anyway.
heard that as a subtext.
Yeah. Is your web series.
Okay.
Because you're working
Yes.
on Roadside Stars. You're playing Bee, the nutty
Wow.
sister of Candy Clark. Actress Candy
Yes.
Clark. www.roadsidestarstheseries.com
Yes.
if you want to watch. But
Yes,
it's not aired
it's-
yet.
Correct.
Okay.
It's not aired yet, and my character probably won't show up till around the 3rd episode. And I play a nutty sister to Candy Clark's character. And if you can't, that name rings a bell. It's because she was Oscar nominated. She was in American Graffiti. She might have even been. She was in one David Bowie movie. It might have been The Man Who Fell to Earth. But she is such a loving, kind person. And I'm so honored to play this nutty character. As you probably realize, I am a
can't
little
wait.
nutty, but I don't get to play nutty very much. So you'll see me looking very different than Faye or me right now. I'll probably look very kind of nutty granny-ish.
Oh,
So
okay.
there-
Okay. I mean, with the name B, that's
Yeah,
kind
B,
of what I'm
yeah,
seeing.
kinda
That's kind of
old-fashioned.
what I'm
Exactly.
seeing.
Okay.
And you'll have to message me
Yes.
when it's airing,
I
because then
will.
when we do our Dishin Days, I can give them the heads up in our news and gossip so they can check it out.
And it's directed and starring Gene Loveland, who is a wonderful director and actor who also co-created the project along with many, many wonderful people. It's a beautiful story. It also touches on Alzheimer's and being family versus career. And it's about a musician who had to choose between his career as a musician or taking care of his family when his ex-wife dies of cancer. And Candy Clark plays a grandmother who we find out has Alzheimer's. And it's the actors, everyone, including Mandolin Clark, and so many wonderful people are in it. It's amazing what you can find when you look on the internet. Yeah. And Billy DeMotta, Dee Vise brought us all together in casting, so I want to give them a thumbs up too. And love to you all. I'm happy to support it in any way that I can. So even if I wasn't B.
Okay. So that's where you guys can find her. And so I think that's all we have time for. I actually had more than enough.
I know, that's because I talk too much. I talk too much.
That's okay. The two of us together probably was.
Oh my gosh, if Ari was here, it would go on for hours.
And we talked for about, what, a half hour before we even went on. So
I know.
We did get a lot in, and I think they were happy, and we're always happy to have you back. And if Faye comes back as a ghost, you need to come join us on Dishin Days, and we can do it that way.
Thank you.
But thank you again so much. And I have to say, there's no better person to be leading angels than you. So I wish you all the best. I'm going to keep watching it. I'm going to keep promoting it. I just love it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being an angel among us. I'll have to interview you too. Okay.
Excellent.
All right. I've learned from you.
And let them know. So let them know on social media where they can find you, Angels Among Us,
I will.
all that stuff.
I'm trying to get back on social media. Sorry, I've been out of the loop, you guys. So I will be back on.
Your Twitter's just Valerie Wildman.
My Twitter's Valerie Wildman. My Instagram's Valerie Wildman. And so.
Okay. And then there is I did see there's an Angels Among Us Twitter.
There is, which I haven't been active on.
I saw it. We didn't have a lot of activity, but there is it out there. So if you want, follow that. Because she's going to get, don't you worry.
I've been kind of off the grid for a while, but I'm back. Okay.
She's back.
Okay, I'm back.
We're warning you now. She's back. Thank you again so much. And thank you guys for tuning in. We love you. We'll see you
We're going to hug now. Away from the microphone.
Lipstick all over. That's how I love it.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.